Hello? Can you hear me?
Machka?
Yes.
Machka. Hi, yeah, this is Father Alexander. Father Mark has a hard time connecting us. Hold on a second, let me try to merge.
Okay.
Hello? Is everyone here?
I'm here.
Here.
hmm
Okay, yes. Father Mark? Yeah, sorry. The technical difficulty was totally on my side.
Okay.
Uh, okay, so I know there are a few things we want to talk about, but the first thing that I wanted to talk about with you, Mashka, is just the church circumstance.
hmm
I think in one of the texts you suggested also going to the mission, and I think that's something that's a good idea.
Okay.
So you and your family can go to the mission. The only thing is that we would want you and your family to just sort of kind of pray, kind of keep low profile, because there's still a lot of moving pieces going on. We don't want to put you sort of in any crosshairs. So we want you just to go and pray, kind of keep a low profile for now. And so that means, for now, not reading or singing a choir, but go pray and think the mysteries, and participate in the liturgical life of the mission.
I see.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of moving pieces going on right now, and for kind of keep y'all out of sort of harm's way, to put it gently, we just think for now this is the best thing for everybody. It won't be this way indefinitely, but just for now, I think there are a couple of the shoes that are going to drop, and we just want to make sure that no one is kind of in a vulnerable position. If that makes any sense.
Okay. So you said there's some issues. Is that something that you're able to share?
Well, obviously, we have the ecclesial case of Father Matthew, and that's in process. But then we also are just wondering what's going to happen with the civil authorities with that, and so and those things are running parallel, but they can be connected. In other words, if Father Matthew is charged and or convicted, then he's automatically that has an impact on the spiritual court, and obviously if he's convicted, he's going to be automatically dropped. But so we're just kind of waiting to see how the pieces fall. Those are the main things, and there's a couple other things that are kind of going on that we're just not sharing right now. But there's a lot more information that we have about the whole circumstance that we just have to kind of work through and not ready. It's not really edifying to at this juncture to make it public.
I see. Okay. Did you all report it to the police?
Yeah, we did. Yes, a while ago.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're working with the authorities?
They have not contacted us yet, so.
I see.
Yeah.
So when did you all report it?
I don't have a strict note of it. It was, where are we now? We're in March.
7th.
At least a month ago, if not longer.
Okay. And who did you report it? You reported it in Tennessee as well, or?
Yeah, we reported to there's a Tennessee authority for cases like this.
The
and that's
tip.
where we reported it.
To the tip of through the website there, or you called the police, the Sullivan County?
We called there was a line to call.
The tip hotline?
The agent.
Nice.
I forget what it's called exactly.
Okay. Okay. I see. Okay, I do have some questions as well, but maybe it's best if you fathers just go through what you wanted to share with me, and if that's okay, I would like to share some things that concerns and have questions as well.
Well, I think the main thing was well, one is I think you've already gotten most of the things out of the rectory, and my understanding is there are things there that John's going to take care of, and that there's things in the barn, and I totally get that. I'm sure it's disgusting to go in there.
Yeah, there's just a little bit of there are a couple broken bikes in there. It's really I'm not interested in going in there in its present state. No. So otherwise, the only thing that's left is that hot tub, which I'm trying to figure out how to move. So, yeah.
Because we have to we're going to try to fix some things.
Mm-hmm.
I think we discovered, for example, that plumbing difficulty with the upstairs. There's an upstairs bathroom, right? Am I getting this right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, plumbing. We discovered the plumbing was actually done backwards. So that was the cause of that problem. So that'll have to be addressed. But that's when we could we just discovered that. But anyway, so the things on my mind, one is just to kind of see where your status was with the directory, because we're going to start fixing that up.
Mm-hmm.
And then two was to tell you it's fine to go to the mission.
Okay.
And then three is you had asked a question, because we had talked about some references for therapy or therapists or counselors.
Yes.
And we can talk about that.
Okay.
And maybe Father Alexander can take over there, but ostensibly we have not only we have at least one priest, but we have a few others that have they're licensed counselors and things like that. I think there's a little bit of complication in the sense they can't actively engage because of crossing state lines, but I think they can make referrals or just give some preliminary guidance and things like that. But Father, you can speak more to that.
Okay.
Mashka, why don't you ask your questions? Because again, we just honestly wanted to talk to you, because right now, again, we're all in great Lent, as you mentioned in your text. It's time of repentance, time of prayer. Listen, everybody wants to just concentrate on prayer, concentrate on spiritual well-being all around, right? And then, I think, right now with mission, if things worked out, you could go and pray with the family in the mission, where it will be much quieter and whatnot. That's already done. Rest of the some technical questions, which is I'm sure we could discuss with Father Mark. As I said, yes, we wanted to also confirm it was reported. If authorities is going to contact us personally, the church, trust me, there will be full cooperation. Right? Church is not trying to hide anything or anything else, but it takes time, and as Father Mark said, sometimes if there's so-called silence, it doesn't mean we don't know something or we're not doing anything about it, or we're trying, and we're not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And this again, to confirm, ecclesiastical court works in conjunction. When the cases like this come up, right, or this specific with certain cases, that our spiritual court, in a sense, has to wait on certain things and see when the civil authorities, how they're going to proceed and do things. It does not mean that the spiritual court is not going to look or investigate more of Father Matthew case and everything else, and then cannot come up with a own decision. But you need to understand that everything, there's a certain procedures can take time, and we do have a lot more information that we have shared with you, and we could, or even probably you have or whatnot. And that also I wanted to tell that at no time, please. Again, I'm not going to tell you trust me, because I know you've been through, hell and back, and there's still a lot is going on, whatnot. But please, at no time, no one had any bad feelings towards you, not me personally. I'm speaking personally for myself, and I know not Father Mark, and I know the Metropolitan. And I want you to understand that whatever you said, whatever you told us, whatever your daughters told us. As I told you that on Sunday when I saw you and looked at you in the face after liturgy and I held your daughter in my hands. We trust you fully. We trust you fully. Even maybe you don't feel this way. I wanted just to say that, for you. So why don't you ask your questions and we'll answer them or not.
I just want to clarify something that Father Alexander said with regard to spiritual court. They run parallel and they're connected, and we do want to see, the spiritual court does want to see what the civil authorities do, but precisely the spiritual court is determining the ecclesial fitness as to whether Father Matthew can continue in his ministry or not, and that's not necessarily connected. In other words, if there are no charges brought against him, it doesn't mean they're not going to defraud him. It just means that we're going to see.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last thing you said, Father Alexander. Sorry, you said that last part.
Oh, it just means, I guess to restate, that the spiritual court, they determine the ecclesial fitness for Father Matthew to continue in his ministry or not.
Right.
And it doesn't, if the civil authorities do nothing, it doesn't mean Father Matthew is going to be exonerated. The spiritual court will still determine whether he's ecclesially fit. I would be surprised if they, in other words, I don't think he's going to show up serving as a priest anytime soon, if ever again. I mean, if that's your question, or that's a concern for you. But I just want to make it clear that it's not necessarily 100% up to the civil authorities. If nothing happens in that realm, that doesn't mean the spiritual court isn't going to proceed with disciplinary leading up to defraction. If that makes sense.
So what does the police need to send to you all? So I think your reports would help them. I mean, you said you are working with the police, or you're not working with them?
If they contact us, they haven't yet. If they contact us, then we will. We're just waiting to be contacted from them, and then we will, fully cooperate, give them everything that they need.
All we could say, listen, they have information from us. We reported this thing. This is what was reported to us through the church. As a church authority, we reported to us. From what our understanding, they took everything seriously and whatnot, but it seems to be they already, from what we could understand, they added it to existing case, which means there was a case existing, right?
Yes.
They have all information, the contact information, whatever they need, they could get from us police. But so far, there was no contact from anyone, right? Even the authorities, when they were contacted, said, "Do you want to be notified of movements or whatever's going on?" We said, "Yes, absolutely. Keep us informed and whatnot." And so far, it's been quiet, and that's what we were trying to also figure out, where all of this seemingly going, what's going on with this whole thing. But we are available 100%, right?
So I have a question. I just had to report somebody else in a different situation yesterday, and I went through the whole protocol. So even on the anonymous reporting, they ask for your information and your email address, and you get an email confirmation back. So did you not receive any of that?
Yeah, I did not make myself anonymous, and I did get a confirmation. I have a confirmation number, and they said it was added to an open file already.
I see. Okay. So I guess my first question would be, what is the status with the church's investigation, the spiritual court? Because I've heard nothing. Last I heard it was supposed to start after Theophany in January, and I've heard nothing. Father Joseph seems to think it hasn't started. From what I'm hearing from you, that's maybe not true?
They have the preliminary information, and we have other information that we're waiting to give to them when they request it, but they are also waiting to see if there's any movement with the civil authorities that we said earlier.
I see.
So
if you don't hear something, or if it feels nothing's going on, it does not mean that nothing is going on. right? People who needs to be aware of situation. As you know, we have a lot of information, right? A lot of information that on our part that we need to do our interviews. Let's for the lack of better word, our investigation and everything else. So, but as I said, everything takes time, right? And then once certain things run in conjunction, right? We have to, as I said, obviously it would be much better for both purposes if the police, let's call it as it is, called Father Matthew, arrested him, and do their part. That would be much better. But as Father Mark said before, it doesn't mean nothing is going on, and it doesn't mean that spiritual court washed their hands and said, oh, we're not going to even look at it. But no, but if it's quiet, it doesn't mean that nothing is going on. You will have to trust us on that, even if it's not the answer you want to hear.
I see. Okay. So, I have a question. So I've read over the guidelines in the section about reporting of complaints, and number 7 states that if the respondent admits to the allegation, then he signs an admission and the investigation is ended. So my question for you is, did you ask Father Matthew if the allegations made against him by his daughters at the cross, did you ask him if those were in fact true, and did he admit to these allegations?
But you need to understand that this is between us and Father Matthew, right? Just like our conversation between you and us is between us. What Father Matthew told us is going to spiritual court.
Uh-huh. I see.
And they will also ask him those direct questions too.
Okay, so the fact that the investigation has not ended would imply that we can assume what that means.
No, we cannot imply anything. It just takes time. Do not assume anything, and it doesn't imply anything, right? So everything is going in the right direction. Let me just put it this way for your information.
But according to this, it says that the investigation would have ended at that time if he admitted to it.
It's not just black and white what it says in the book. You know, there are a lot of other complicated pieces and moving pieces, and whatnot, right? It doesn't really matter, right? There's certain things, and there's certain cases, as Father Mark stated before, of a certain criminal nature, right? That we reported, or let's say if it goes directly in some cases to a spiritual court will have to report it to authorities, and it means spiritual court in some cases still have to wait for certain ways that the civil authorities have to give time to civil authorities to look at it, to act at it, and whatnot. So it's not just clear cut each case. It says in the book 7 days and this, whatnot, and stuff like that. But please do not assume anything, and do not read, not what it says in the book. But again, you know yourself, each case is different, right? Just imagine if I use the same rule, if your entire family comes to me personally for confession, every single one of you ever goes to confession, and you're going to confess to me almost the same sin or whatnot. Do you really think I'm going to give the same answer to you, to your daughters, to your son-in-laws or whatnot? Of course not. You know that's not how it works, right?
Okay. Okay. So, so will the police, have you given that information to the police based on your preliminary investigation with Father Matthew? Is that what you gave to the police when?
Which information are you talking about?
When after you took our statements in December, you told me that you were going to meet with him. I assume that's when he also testified with the cross and the gospel. I'm just wondering if you those results if they're shown to be criminal, evidence of criminal sexual misconduct, do you report those to the police?
We reported what you told us and your daughters told us. Police did, but if police want more information, as Father Mark stated, they have all our info. They could contact us. They could call us for an interview or whatever it is. We reported the crime, right? Because that's how we were going to say. We took your statement, we took your daughter's statement, and we called the police to report a crime, not a rumor or anything else, right? It was a phone conversation, and again, right now, everything in police hands. The ball is in the court, basically. And that's why we also would like to find out how somehow what is going on with the police department, with the detectives and whatnot.
Okay.
We're just like you are sitting and probably waiting. You probably know more on that information. They probably called you. They probably called girls to interview if they did, right? So, but we did our part as far as reporting the crime.
Okay. So, all right. This is part of the problem that has been a very big source of chaos and hysteria in the church, is that I initially learned about the sexual misconduct against my daughters in September. At that time, my husband, when I asked him about it, he admitted it to me privately, not in writing, and went to Jordanville, and he told me that he was going to Jordanville to seek guidance from Bishop Luke on what to do going forward. It's come to my attention that what he actually did on that visit was go and report to Bishop Luke or whomever that I was having an adulterous relationship with my daughter's 17-year-old boyfriend. Sorry to laugh, but that's what I was told. Recently informed that my husband told me he was going to report his sexual misconduct, but in fact he went and accused me, made allegations against me being in an adulterous relationship, which is absolutely false on every front. Not a grain of truth to it. So I was recently informed of this, that my husband, in his paranoia and so forth, thought that this was what was happening and didn't. And I don't know that he did, in fact, report to Bishop Luke or Father Serge. I don't know that anything about what my daughters had accused him of. So what I have learned is that when Father Serge came down here, even though my husband told me he was coming down here to discuss the abuse against my girls, he was apparently coming because he thought I was having an adulterous relationship. So this is...
I'm going to pause right now, and I'm just going to use this directly. Was it a credible person that told you that?
This was from him.
From whom?
Father Matthew said that to you?
He didn't say it to me, but he said it to somebody, and the text leaked out.
Well, I tell you one thing. That's the first I heard of it personally. And nobody, not Bishop Luke, not Father Serge. This is, I don't know where this whole thing coming from. This is just even, like I said, it's not funny, but at this point was never raised or anything else, but to no anyone and to no one, and I wouldn't be worried about it. And obviously, we believe you, and just even put it. I don't want to say put it out of your mind, but this was never mentioned or raised to anyone.
That's fine. Okay. Well, Father Joseph was apparently told, as were Dr. Dave Arnold and I think maybe Fred. There was a group of them that was informed that this was. Anyway, I just wanted to discount that, and in case you had heard about it, to let you know that that's absolutely false to the root. Anyway, so regardless of what Father Matthew reported when he went up there, the point is that Father Serge Kotar came down to Tennessee in September and served in Moleben with my family privately, without my husband, and with my extended family, sons-in-law, and so forth. And at that time, he asked if any of us wanted to speak to him privately, and that was when I spoke with him and told him in detail about the sexual abuse that my daughters had told me about, had informed me of. So that brings me to the question of, under the guidelines in the church, number 16, reports and complaints. Any evidence of criminal sexual misconduct, except under the seal of confession, shall be immediately referred to the appropriate law enforcement. My question is, why did neither Father Serge Kotar in September or Metropolitan Nicholas on October 30th, when I sent him an email in detail describing the abuse and the adulterous relationships, nor Bishop Luke in December when I reported it to him, why did none of them follow the guidelines, the bylaws of the church, and report it to the law enforcement? This was a sexual abuse against minor children. Not only was it not reported, to my knowledge, but when Father Mark was brought onto the scene, Father Mark, when you were brought onto the scene in December, is my understanding that your official statement to our parish was that the church had only learned about it 24 hours before. I reported the abuse starting in September, and there was no record.
I'm going to pause you right there.
Okay.
When I said that, what I was referring to is that's when it was reported, that's when the public law happened and it was reported. That's what I was talking about. I wasn't talking about anything further back than that. That's all I was referring to.
But do you realize by that statement, mass hysteria ensued in the parish where people claimed that my family and I had never reported it and had no intention of reporting it. And we were, Father, please let me finish. And that we were opened up, my family was left vulnerable to hideous slander. And I addressed this in a letter which I sent to Metropolitan Nicholas, copy to Vladika Luke, Father Serge, and you, Father Mark, later in December, begging you to please clarify these matters because it was hurting not only my family, but everybody in the parish. And it has caused just domino effect of just, as you see, as we all see, this could have been corrected. This was not true. And by not correcting it, it has allowed just hideous rumors and just horrible things to happen, which, has been incredibly, damaging to my children and to my whole family. And so that's been a very, very painful, very, very painful source of I don't even know how to describe. I mean, it's irreparable emotional, spiritual damage to my children and to parishioners who not only had lost their priest, but now they thought that we had no intention of reporting it at all. So my question is why is this not the protocol? I'm going to bring up another point. Joseph Smith, one of the former parishioners of St. Tikhon's, a good friend of mine, shared a conversation that he had with you, Father Mark, right after my family was banned from the church, and in which you were quoted saying, until The accusation is made before the cross in the gospel. It doesn't count as an allegation. So how can that not?
That's not exactly what's said. And I'm saying completely out of context.
Father Mark, I have a recording of the conversation. That's verbatim, word for word, what you said in that context. I'm sorry, forgive me, but that's...
So, are you recording this now? Because I do not consent to be recorded.
No. This was not my recording. This was Joseph Smith's recording.
No, right now. Are you recording this conversation now?
No. I'm asking why the church, why the leaders didn't report it, and then turned around and acted and told people that we had never reported it.
Did you report it to the authority?
Yes, I did report it to the authorities.
In September?
No, I reported it to Father Serge, and my understanding is...
No. Mashka, I'm going to ask you a question. Again, if you learn of the criminal act, whatnot, you spoke to Father Serge, you shared your story, right? You shared your story with Father Serge, right? And then, but, I don't know, again, we weren't there, I don't know what was said between you and Father Serge. You had this one-on-one conversation, right? It doesn't mean that we didn't talk to Father Serge ourselves, whatnot. However, it was your direct conversation. My question is to you, why didn't you report to authorities yourself at that time? Not church authorities, legal authorities.
Sure. Well, that's a good question, and that's a question that is has to do with my family personally, and my daughter's grief, and my daughter's and myself processing it and getting to the point where we could, and it's really irrelevant, Father, because I understand now, I did not know at the time about the law about Tennessee being a mandatory reporting state, but it's my understanding that clergymen are mandatory reporters, and according to the church bylaws, you all are mandatory reporters. And it said, as I read right there, that you were required when there was evidence of criminal sexual misconduct. And it wasn't just Father Serge. I can send you the entirety of the email that I sent to Metropolitan Nicholas, in which I stated how my daughters were sexually abused. Why did he not follow the bylaws? Why did an investigation not start then? Why was there not an investigator sent down after I reported it to Father Serge or Metropolitan Nicholas?
I'm going to answer, because there was a reason. But that reason will not disclose right now, but there was absolutely a reason why nothing in September was going on, right? And I'm not going to answer on Metropolitan behalf right now, but I would tell you one thing, there was very legitimate reason. It's not what you want to hear, and what I'm trying to understand right now, and I'm going to ask you this directly. Where are we going with this whole conversation? If you want certain answers, just we have a proper conversation to figure out where we're moving along or whatnot. Or we're having a conversation, because right now your question is to us, is beginning to sound like it's some kind of a deposition or I don't know for the what's the word to use here. Where are you going with all of this?
Father,
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Because I'm telling you from my side, which I told you that before, there was a lot of reasons. If you're planning to go to court against the church with it, then all these reasons going to come out or whatnot. That nothing was hidden, I've just told you this before. But not everything we could disclose to you. And then if you're upset with Metropolitan or something else, I could tell you one thing. That no way, no how, Vladika Metropolitan was trying to hide something, try to dishonor you or your family, or not to help or whatnot. It doesn't look this way, but there were legitimate reasons that it was, they said when you sent this email to him in October, right? And I saw this your email. But then things developed. Father Serge, again, we cannot answer for Father Serge because there's also certain things that we all know of, what happened. And there's other certain protocols. But again, no way, no how somebody was trying to sweep something under the rug and whatnot. Right? So it's happened. So my question is, where are we going with this? Because again, if you're questioning us for certain things that you want to make a legal case out of this because of church or whatnot, then just say so. Guys, I'm going to sue the church. I'm going to sue you. I don't need you. Then why are we having this conversation? And we're having conversation about your family needs help. You want to go to the ROCOR parish and whatnot. Because you know what happens, when you go to the church. Or we're trying to work through things to help you out somehow and move forward from all of this. Father Matthew is going to be punished one way or the other. Do we agree on that point or not?
Yes. And
so and most likely Father Matthew never going to return as a priest anywhere, and whatnot. Do we agree on that point or not?
Yes.
So then what is left? What are we doing next? What is the point of this whole conversation? Can you just please explain to me? Because the way I feel it, it's not what I expected for us to have a conversation.
Okay, so what the point of the conversation is that I'm just trying to understand things and why things have gone the way they've gone, and why my family has been left. Okay, so when you came down for the investigation, at the time you both personally assured me of your pastoral care and support to my family. And you at that time told me that the two of you and Father John were the clergymen to whom I should turn for support. Now, Father John has continued to receive my phone calls and give me guidance. I have repeatedly texted both Father Alexander and Father Mark, asking for pastoral care, asking for the explanation of why my family was given this directive. I received this directive with a text from Father Mark telling me to check my email and to have a nice day. I never received anything.
I said, good afternoon, check your email. And within less than 5 minutes, I was getting texts from parishioners and within half an hour or 45 minutes, it was on social media. There was no opportunity to explain anything or whatever. It was already, I'm sorry, no.
I was in the dentist, actually, when I received that directive. So that wasn't me. I didn't put anything on social media. I didn't share. Okay. Oh, okay. So my family members, some of which are adults and married, I don't understand why we're all being punished for. That wasn't even my family member. I saw it posted. I know who posted it. That was because one of my family members did in fact share it. This is it's a fact. Everybody knows that. This is not something that I think you were trying to hide, that we were being banned from the church. This was a public cause that we were being banned. I mean, I don't understand why that's something that needed to be kept private, but I didn't put it on social media. None of my family members put that on social media. But does that mean that we don't get any pastoral counsel? I was never told why. I asked why. My son-in-law, you understand, my son-in-law and daughter moved across the country with my daughter 8 months pregnant with a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old to join our St. Tikhon's parish. And within 10 days, they received this directive with no explanation. My son-in-law, John Mitchell, called you, Father Mark, asking for just some clarity. They were wondering why.
Number one is he did not identify himself. I found out later it was him. He said that he was new to the area, looking into parishes. That was deceptive.
No. No, you're clearly a different call.
I have the voicemail, and again, back to Alexander's point, what are we doing here?
Okay, I'm trying to understand why this is the pastoral support that you assured me of when it's been 2 months, Father Mark. Please let me finish. It's been 2 months since you banned us from the church, and you're just now getting around to giving me a phone call to tell me why. My children grew,
Hold on, everybody, hold on, please. Much, do you remember our conversation on Sunday after liturgy?
Yes, I do.
Okay, remember I was holding your daughter, who is a very lovely little thing, and I do miss her, honestly. And I had a conversation with you outside. We had it one-on-one. And then somebody from your daughters took the girl and said, this is your time to step back, to stop worrying about everything else, go somewhere else, take your family, step back, don't do anything here, take care of your family and whatnot. This is for the protection of your family. Because even to this day, just please let me finish up, even to this day, many people do not believe what Father Matthew did. We do. We have no question about it. But people don't. And we were trying to help you and your family. And I told you this in a nice way at that point. Just step back, go take the family, leave the church here, because they would be exposed to the bad things. That was always the intention. Now, if you don't like what's written in Lucas, okay, it's you. That was also intention. Nobody banned you, but for the protection and for less rumors and for a lot less of other stuff, this was done. Again, you don't have to accept it. Obviously, you're not accepting it, but it was done with love and care.
But I was never explained. But you never told me why. If Father Mark or one of you had just, I asked repeatedly for clarity on this, and my family did as well, and we got no clarity on it. So this is my concern, and this is why 57 members of St. Tikhon's are at Christ the Savior. That's the Greek church down the road. When you kick victims out of a parish for reporting abuse, it sets the sort of precedence to the church where people are afraid to speak out when they've been abused. It sends the message that it's not safe for victims to report misconduct. If they see that those who speak up are shunned, ostracized, and denied the sacraments in support of their parish. This is the message your banning has given to the faithful, and that's why so many people have left. And it's hurt.
Listen, I'm not going to accept the term banned, kicked out, or anything else. I played, our position or my position, and yeah, I was only honest to tell you, I'm praying for you and your family all the time. I would pray, and that's it. I'm not going to even try to, because I said I'm not accepting that we ban you and punish you like it's written on the internet and other social media. People could write a lot of stuff, and as I said, we know in church also, not only at liberty, or it's not our job to run around and justify everything all the time, whatnot.
Sure.
And also, certain cases, certain things are given to specific people. It's not the same, but it's also not meant to be public in a sense. Because it's personally for you, for your family. You decided, or whoever decided to share, church certainly didn't share. You say members of your family didn't share. Then we don't know who shared it, because only a few people got this ukaz. But I'm just telling you right now, there was never intention, and you never punished, you never banished, or anything else, and we always trusted your story. This is for the record, recorded or not recorded or anything else. And then to go back and try to again, to go through how, what it is and done, it's not going to get us anywhere. My question is to you again, what are we doing now? Where are we going forward with that? Now we talked about that you could attend the mission and everything else.
Okay. Well,
now we're going to talk about the future, or we're going to just skip, and then talk about what happened, what did not happen. If you want to be assured of my prayers are there. Yes, you know when I'm very, very busy with a lot of stuff, and whatnot. So if you could ask me a question, yes, can we delete everything? I wish we could delete all the postings, all the websites, all of our other stuff, and just concentrate right now on the prayer, whatnot. Yes, that would be my honest wish, and to have a normal conversation, with you, with your family. And as I said, I'm praying. This is my wish, but I know it's not going to happen because a lot of stuff is out there. But more, we're going to try to justify and explain something. More, you're going to try to prove and justify something, right? It's not going to go anywhere except a completely opposite direction. So my question, and only one question, what are we doing moving forward? What is the plan? And that's it. And I don't think there's anything else to really discuss. As I said, especially when we agree on all the key points.
Okay, well, forgive me, I just felt like I should share the grief, that my family has gone through because of this, and because of simply the unwillingness of you to explain the situation to us, and to give us some sort of understanding, explanation of why. I mean, this is a penance to not be allowed to go to our church. And clearly, I mean, you can say it's not a ban, but let's face it, if we had showed up at the church, we would have been in trouble because we were told not to, and we've respected that and honored that. But generally, I think when a penance is given, there's an explanation given as to why it's being given, and that's what was lacking. And I'm just trying to explain to you that this has hurt my family. I'm asking for your prayers. I'm asking that in the future that you'll learn from these things and not treat victims this way. And that the church, I'm asking that you will stand up and make sure that this doesn't happen in the church, that victims and people, you asked why it took us months, why we didn't report it to the authorities, why I didn't want my husband to be sent to prison, my children's father, in September, why it took me a couple of months to muster up the courage and my daughters to actually go through, because this is very painful. And if other victims are afraid to go forward because they know that, I remember Antouchine Elizabeth, and when her daughters were abused, and the way the church just tried to silence them and kicked them out, that's how it appears. That's how it looks from the outside. And that's not.
I agree with you, that's how it appears. But I'm telling you honestly, again, I'm not asking for your trust. You've been, again, for me personally, you've been a lot, and a lot more maybe than you should be going through and whatnot, especially with the news that you got about your husband and through your marriage and everything else we talked about all of this. As I said, fully trust everything you said. Absolutely.
Yes,
There's no dispute and everything else. We learn, of course, we're moving forward and whatnot. Absolutely. I get it. But there's also, as far as timelines and everything else, what was said, what was not said, there is very good reasons for all of this. It's not cut and paste. It's not black and white. It's not, open a book, read how it is or not. It's not. I would only tell you this. I'm not going to ask you, please trust me, because, I probably personally lost your trust, and again, there's a reason and whatnot, and this is where we are, but I'm just telling you, there was reasons for everything, what happened or what did not happen. But it's not it does make you feel better, but hopefully, as I said, I want to concentrate on now, on the future, on the prayers, and moving forward, especially right now during Great Lent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. We want to go forward, and I thank you for the pastoral support of allowing us to go to the mission. It's been extremely difficult for us. I have, as you know, a 2-year-old that's extremely disabled, and I cannot drive 2+ hours to go to church. So basically, either we go to the Greek church, which is pretty excruciating, the choir and everything, or else we, don't go to church. And, it's Great Lent. My family is accustomed to going to church every day, multiple times a day often, and it's been very difficult. So I thank you for that. I hope that you will reconsider allowing us to sing in the choir, because it's such an inherent part of the way that we worship. And I would ask that you please reconsider that, because for my family, it's a big deal. So.
And I hear you, and I know you're doing a wonderful job. So, and again, then I'm going to ask you, right? As Father Mark explained right now, and obviously we have our, reasons and directions and directives and whatnot. Let's take at this point, as I said, there's a lot of healing process needs to be done, right? A lot of healing process. There's no magic wand. There's no magic situation. We cannot just, turn the switch off and everything's good, because it's not. Everything needs time. Time for situation, time for healing and whatnot. As Father Mark said, don't go to the mission. Just pray. Just pray. Do what's right. For you, for your family and whatnot. It already is a huge step forward. We'll pray about it. We heard you loud and clear. We heard you loud and clear, and we'll all make these steps together. Again, silence does not mean, ignore. You don't have to accept it, I'm telling you. I'm not asking for your trust because, I know trust has to be earned or whatnot. If somehow you distrust me, this is where it is. I have to do my work regardless. But we'll take small steps in the right direction. We heard your, mission, praying. You ask, can we participate? We'll discuss that, we'll pray about that, and we will be in contact with you about it. But from moving forward, let's just, hopefully, tone everything down, and then again, move forward for the benefit, for spiritual benefit of all. Because ultimately, we all know you're gonna answer for your stuff, for your sins, and for your behavior. We're gonna answer for our, behavior and our words and everything else. We're all gonna answer.
Of course.
And as I said, I'm praying for you and for your family, and I'm praying that we all, especially now, tone it down and move forward past everything else. If I will be ever in Tennessee, I promise you, I'll see you personally, right? I will see you personally if I'm in that neck of the woods. And then I do pray that the resolution about, Father Matthew and his, future, and hopefully all his pleasantries move forward much, much faster. Because I know it's going to help you, and it's going to help everyone around. So we start with that. We start with prayers. You just ask us for another request. We'll pray about it. We'll discuss it. But again, just please be patient, a bit more patient with us. This is the only thing I could ask you. Just one thing.
Okay. Alrighty.
Okay?
Okay.
Alright, listen, I have to go. We'll have services. It was good talking to you. And I'm sure we will be in touch.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mark, anything else?
No, that's ditto to everything you said. We're going to take it one step at a time and be patient and work through the difficulties. There's still difficulties ahead. And that's what we'll do.
Okay. Alrighty.
All right. God bless.
God bless.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.